because my GPA sucked. Went into the interview with no prep, like I'm gonna practice in my head. Got rejected 2 weeks right after, and I was like, I am sweating. Hey there, welcome back to my channel. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe, but I am completely new at this, so bear with me. This video is going to be about how I got into PA school, physician assistant school, and why did it take me 3 years? That's 3 application cycles. So if you want to know more, keep it here. Let's start at the very beginning. I actually didn't find out about PA school until my junior year in undergrad. And prior to that, I was always pre-med. I even joined a pre-med honor society called Alpha Epsilon Delta. During that time, I was kind of teeter-tottering between PA and MD. I went to a club meeting and I was able to kind of get volunteering opportunities through my classmates. And I shadowed my very first ortho PA. Was trying to shadow a doctor actually, but they had only PAs, and I was like, I don't know what a PA is. Sure, like it's gonna get my foot in the door, so let's do it. And that PA actually changed my life. I didn't really understand what a physician assistant was, what the role was, how much collaboration there was. So I shadowed for about 1.5 years. And from there, I was like, okay, let me see if I can shadow more PAs, because I just want to know more and I want to see if other PAs and other specialties are just as awesome. So I did. I shadowed interventional pulmonology PA, heme-onc PA, plastic surgery, and in between all of those, I was able to shadow doctors and NPs as well, because I was like, okay, I gotta make a decision whether I want to still continue with pre-med or if I wanted to go down this new PA route. So my ortho PA instructed me to kind of look into EMT, MA positions or CNA positions to be able to accrue my hours so that I can apply to PA school. And soon after, I made the decision to go to the pre-PA route. Tried getting my EMT license. I got it, and then it took me a whole year to do all the paperwork and to finally work. I applied right out of my senior year. My first time, I applied to 4 schools, and they're all local to my area, so Los Angeles. Like, oh, that'd be great. Graduating and then starting PA school, straight shot into it, that'd be awesome. But I made a huge mistake. I did not read carefully enough all of the requirements, the prerequisites. I just didn't read correctly. So I took upper division psych and sociology, and a lot of these programs require intro to psych, sociology 101. They want specific classes, and I was like, oh, you know what? I took upper division 400 level, I'm good. But I completed my whole CASPA application. I was gonna go in and send my secondary application in. I called the program just to double check if my requirements were up to par, and they're like, no, sorry, we're asking for Psych 101, not 400 level, 300 level Psych. So I was like, no. Yeah, I completely blew it. I kind of got my hopes up and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be it. I remember calling one of my close friends at the stairwell of after one of my biology classes. I was just crying because I was like, oh man, I really wanted to get going really fast and it just didn't work out, and it was all on me. I just didn't read correctly or even thoroughly enough. So my tip to you guys, please read all of the requirements for every program, because it is different. It sucks. It's different for every program. They want different things. They want certain classes. They want certain number of hours. Please just read. Create a spreadsheet because I didn't, and that's what happened. But please do that. Before you know it, I was rejected 4 times by the 4 programs that I applied to, and that was kind of duh. I didn't even get through to the secondaries because I found out that I just was not applicable to any of them. I graduated. I spent the whole year trying to accrue hours through my EMT license. I barely got to, I believe, 500 to barely 1,000, and at that time all these programs wanted at least 1,000 patient care hours, and I made it barely at the cusp. Also, my GPA sucked. It was, I think, a 3.1, 3.2, somewhere around there. And a lot of these programs have applicants that are like 3.5 and above. So I was like, okay, well, if I can't increase my GPA at this point when I'm gonna apply for the second time, let me increase my hours in working, in shadowing, and volunteering. So I took up a lot to kind of compensate for my crappy grades. The second time around applying, made sure I increased as much as I could. Retake, I think, 1 or 2 classes because I got a bunch of C's. I had like 2 withdrawals. I wasn't the best student, pretty average, but I did what I could in that second year. I applied to, I believe, 8 schools. I received 1 interview, and it was at my top choice. It was USC. Went into the interview with no prep. I was like, okay, I'm gonna practice in my head about the questions that they're gonna ask me and how I'm gonna answer it. And turns out I go to interview day and I just like get lost in my head, and I think I rambled a lot, and I got rejected 2 weeks right after, and I was like, why? I was like, oh man, this is gonna be my year. The second time around, I got 1 interview, like, I'm good, you know, but it was devastating to kind of get so close and then just, nope, you're not ready. I was like, oh crap, like I might have to go for another year. What I really wanted to do this kind of next time going around, I wanted to ask for feedback. Feedback is super important. So if you got an interview from any program, my best tip to you is to kind of get feedback, because they'll let you know what you're kind of screwing up on. They told me that I was talking way too much about dancing and that they weren't sure if I wanted to be a PA. And I was like, I did not know that came through, and that was such stellar advice or criticism or feedback that I was like, okay, I gotta practice more with mock interviews. I have to just chill it with, stop talking about dance so much. And I have to really curate like my answers this time around. So my third time around, I have continued to increase all of my hours because my GPA sucked. I also retook a lot of courses, so especially chemistry and biology, the series. I got C's in mostly all of those classes, so I sucked it up and I retook them all while working full-time at a part-time job, and it was crazy hours. I had my EMT job at a detox facility from 4 a.m. to 12, and then went to my MA position in pediatrics from like I think 1 to 5. Did that, went to school on the weekends. It was nuts. So it was a lot, but did that for a long time and got A's in those retaken courses, and that eventually helped me a little bit. It bumped my GPA just a little bit. I didn't take any OChem, I didn't take physics, I didn't take biochemistry. Like, I barely made it through chemistry, so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna take extra classes. I'm gonna just retake the ones that I got C's in and just increase all my hours, work as much as I could, volunteer and shadow as much as I could. So the things that were in my control, I definitely tried my best with that. I applied to 12 schools the next time around, and I was able to get 5 interviews. With each kind of cycle, I didn't scrap my entire personal statement. I was just adding stories, adding new paragraphs, or just re-editing it. I really practiced. I called up some of my PA mentors. I was able to connect with some pre-meds, and they did some mock interviews through Skype, recreated and curated my own answers to each question in those books. I studied MMI questions online. I did everything that I could. I went to state academy PA conferences, and I really immersed myself into this profession as much as I could as a pre-PA. I highly suggest doing all of that if you're kind of a reapplicant and you're not sure what to do. So yeah, I got 5 interviews. Some of them were brutal. They're MMI group interviews. 2-on-1, 1-on-1. Group interviews are really hard. I got really flustered because you have people answering before you and you're just like, oh God, I'm trying to like beat this person, but still sound very sincere and authentic and answer the question. It was a lot, but towards the end of my interviewing season, I went into my last interview like not really too stressed, and it became sort of like a conversation, and I was like, oh, this feels good. I did a lot of practice and it felt good to kind of be comfortable in my own skin and to kind of interview the school as well as them interviewing me. So it was a really different experience my 3rd time around. I felt really like seasoned. I received 3 acceptances. Chose to go to Western U in Pomona. I was actually waitlisted for USC and then later denied, but it's all good. It all happened for a reason. I don't think that I would have been mature enough if I got in my 1st or 2nd time applying, honestly. So just to recap, my 1st cycle applying, my tip to you is to read the requirements. Read everything on the site, write it down, or type it into a spreadsheet because you need to just organize yourself. Don't make the mistake that I made. My 2nd time around was have enough hours and have enough kind of grit to retake classes if you need to, but also practice mock interviews. Don't just go into it like a job interview. It's different. You have to curate your answers in a way that answers the question, tells the interviewer who you are, as well as kind of, you just have to practice. And public speaking is not my forte, and to be able to kind of, here's an example. My boyfriend was kind of asking me questions and I would just answer it, and he's like, are you excited that you have an interview? And I was like, yeah, I'm ecstatic. And he's like, you don't sound very excited. And I was like, oh, okay. So good constructive feedback. Practice with people that are in this field, and you should be ready to go. Continue to be a model applicant. Like, go to these state PA conferences if you can. Really know the laws and legislation that is affecting the PAs in the state that you are in or the place that you want to go to. Yeah, utilize all your resources. Utilize the PAs that you know. Also, don't lose your determination. If you truly believe that PA is the way for you, or this profession is just, it's you, don't give up, because a lot of people told me like, hey, it's like your 3rd year, like you should probably move on to something else. Even a program rejected me. It was like, hey, you didn't make it into our PA program, but here's our nursing program if you want to apply to. No knock on nurses or anything, but personally I did not want to do anything else other than being a PA. I tell all my pre-PAs, it's not a matter of if you get into PA school, it's a matter of when. If you keep trying your hardest, it's gonna eventually happen for you. That's my little spiel about why it took me 3 times to get into PA school. Thanks for watching. Long video, you got through it. Hope you learned something. Don't make my mistakes, and I'll catch you on my next video.